All right, Shalom. Let's check the feed real quick. Okay, there we go. We are in there. All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rukakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit of the Rukakwadash. All right, and I pray that this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect out there. Okay, so a couple things came to mind. Just going into this topic here, the system of enforced AI worship in this new technological realm. All right, and I want to read some content that I have from the chat that I was bringing out yesterday at camp, going into Revelation 13 verses 15 on down, speaking about the image of the beast. All right, we'll come back to that in a minute. But I got a couple of clips here and news articles that I wanted to go through. And it's basically just hitting the button and letting the spirit move. So we're gonna get into that because right now they're trying to enforce, AI worship, okay, through this new digital idol, right? That's why I have this image in the screen here. But let's get into it real quick here, and we'll just be moving along through these articles and videos, right? But what kind of got this going in the spirit, brothers had posted this a few days ago. This is from newsbreak.com. It says, why the FBI now sees AI criticism as domestic terrorism. All right, so we're going to get into all of that, man, because they're going to enforce, this worship of AI. And anybody that's speaking out against it, okay, you're going to be labeled as a domestic T. All right, so heavy persecution is coming down the line. All right, and we're going to bring it all together. So let's go to this video here. Okay, this is from Secular Talk. Anti-AI extremists targeted by Trump regime in fascist crackdown. All right, so let's listen.
So as you guys know, the Trump regime did something called NSPM 7. And to some...
Hold on 1 second. One second, let me see. Yeah, this is terrible. This thing's moving slow as hell. Bear with me, man. There's always some bullshit on this damn StreamYard. Let's see.
Government usually has So as you guys know, the Trump regime did something called NSPM 7. And to sum up NSPM 7, the government usually has an issue where they put a whole bunch of resources towards it. It's sort of a defining issue of the time. So like back in the day, it was like taking down communism in the Soviet Union. You also had during the Bush years, it's like, oh, the war on terror, right? Like that was the main driving force of so much of what was going on in the government, right? Well, Trump signed this NSPM 7 thing, changing the approach of the government to focus on any and all dissent, any and all left of center political activity. So you sit there and you wonder, why are they going after the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, when all they do is like try to take down extremist groups? And the answer is because they're trying to take down extremist groups. This is a left of center group. And so they're going after them with bullshit arguments too, by the way. They're acting like they actually support the KKK. Nonsense. Why are they going after Act Blue, the Democratic Payment Processor? For the same reason. It's the Democratic Payment Processor. If you're left of center, you are a terrorist. This is how they think now. And so under NSPM 7, they have basically criminalized, or at the very least said, you are now subject to investigation if you're anti-American, as they say, anti-capitalist, anti-Christian, if you're an extremist on immigration or race or gender, they say you're terrorist or terrorist adjacent, and we're going to investigate you. We're going to look into you, and you're liable to have the federal government crack.
Yeah, so we all gonna be we all gonna be tied into all of that, right? This is why I wanted to play this video here, man. So again, they're gonna crack down on everybody. We've been saying this for a long time. All right. So you got to be prepared through the spirit, man. All right.
Down on you, right? This is insane. It's insane. They say you're terrorist or terrorist adjacent, and we're gonna investigate you. We're gonna look into you, and you're liable to have the federal government crack down on you, right? This is insane. It's insane. This is like classic dictator shit. If you disagree with me, if you're not MAGA, you're the enemy, and we're coming for you. Okay, that's what this is. There's no other way to describe it. Well, they now decided, let's make this more absurd. Let's make this more ridiculous. Let's make this more comical. And now we will become the henchmen for the AI tech demons and the Epstein class billionaires. Look at this from Wired. U.S. law enforcement warns of anti-tech extremism as AI hatred grows. As Americans stew over the looming risk of job-stealing AI and data centers in their backyards, the feds are raising the alarm about a new category of threat, documents obtained by Wired show. So if you're opposed to AI, if you're organizing against AI, if you're going to, local meetings to try to block a data center from being placed, you are getting put on a government list as an extremist. This is insane. Why wouldn't the extremists be the people trying to put the AI data centers in? They're the ones who are blowing through our fresh water. They're the ones who are polluting everything in sight. They're the ones who are raising electricity bills. They're the ones who are leading to noise pollution and light pollution. They're the ones who are robbing our resources. And somehow you're the extremist if you oppose that? Oh my God. All right, they say in the wake of attacks on CEOs, a nationwide protest movement targeting data centers and increasing concerns about AI job replacement, federal intelligence agencies and domestic law enforcement are circulating reports with a new domestic target in mind, anti-technology extremists. By the way, stop and think about how this is what the feds are focusing on right now.
There you go. Anti-technology extremists, man. All right, this shit is getting crazy, right? Real quick. This is the book of Revelation 12:12. And it reads, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time, right? And let's get this word for devil, right? As we always bring out. Because they're ready to roll at this point. They're not holding back no more. And they're going to enforce these people to bow down to this beast system as we've constantly been going into week to week. All right. That's the word for devil.
Strong's G1228. Diabolos. Diabolos.
All right. The point. Okay. Definition 2, metaphorically applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of the Most High, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. And we're going to come to this later as well, right? This came across the feed earlier today, okay? But it says here from theguardian.com, it says, our tech overlords are planning for conscious AI to conquer the cosmos. What could go wrong? It says a new belief set, okay? A new belief set is uniting some of the wealthiest men in the world around a transhuman future. Actual humanity be damned. You see that? So these men, all right, these devils, okay, they're coming with the power of Satan, man. All right, they're planning on, implementing this AI as the new world deity, man. Okay, the AI is going to be the governing force over humanity. All right, a new transhuman future is what they're pushing, this pseudo left-handed kingdom. So this man is coming with the power of the devil, man. All right, we'll come back to that, but this is what we up against, man. And they know that the time is short. So at this point, as we're getting into here, they're gonna force the world to bow and submit to this AI, to this beast system. All right, we'll get more into it here, and we're gonna come back to this article as well. But let's go back to what we were listening to. Okay, time is running out, man, and they know it. Okay, and bear with me, man. It's this shit is always moving slow, so hang in there with me. It gets annoying. All right, but let's go back to it here. All right, but this is what they're doing.
centers and increasing concerns about AI job replacement, federal intelligence agencies and domestic law enforcement are circulating reports with a new domestic target in mind: anti-technology extremists. By the way, stop and think about how this is what the feds are focusing on right now. The Epstein-class billionaires are on a fucking crime spree, the likes of which we've never seen. The Trump family is on a crime spree, the likes of which we've never seen. And you're focused on like grandmas who don't want an AI data center in their backyard poisoning their water. More than 1,000 pages of unpublished reports from the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and fusion centers obtained by Wired show a national shift taking place to surveil this new and worryingly broad category of people and activities deemed an emerging threat. By the way, who does the government work for if this is what they're focusing on? I need you to stop and think about that. Because the answer is they work for the Epstein-class billionaires. Because it's only the Epstein-class billionaires who would say, I need you to go after all of my opponents, everybody who criticizes me, everybody who's against these data centers. They say this new effort follows President Trump's National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, that's what we just talked about, NSPM 7, which instructs the Department of Justice to target anyone holding anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-capitalism beliefs. Earlier this month, Trump's counterterrorism czar, Sebastian Gorka, released a public counterterrorism strategy claiming that left-wing extremists are one of the 3 top counterterrorism priorities facing the United States. Ah, yes.
Yeah. So that's why, we've been warning that, pursuing, matter of fact, let's just go back to it. All right. We've been warning that they have everybody categorized, man. Okay. He is the accuser, right? I should have read that first. Revelation 12, right? Revelation 12 and 10. Okay. And it reads, it says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation. And we're in the time of our salvation. All right. Babylon going down, being destroyed, and the salvation of the Lord's elect. Okay. In strength, in the kingdom of our power, and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. So he's the accuser. Okay. And he has everybody that's against, this system, this new technological realm, right? They got everybody labeled, man. They know who's who, and they're ready to come down. This is why we talked about the other day. They have, the federal, state, local police departments all merged into one. All right. And they got Palantir, Gideon, and I forgot the other one name, NVIDIA. All right. All these systems backed behind them to find and search everything, to find anybody. Okay. This is that dystopia world that we've been, warning you all about, man. It's here. Okay. So they're ready to make that move. Okay. Revelation 12 and 11, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimony, and they love not their lives unto death. Right, because we're in a time of heavy persecution, man. Extreme persecution. All right. Verse 12, again, therefore rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So this devil got to do what he got to do. All right. This is the point I'm making here. All right, let's go back.
Beliefs. Earlier this month, Trump's counterterrorism czar, Sebastian Gorka, released a public counterterrorism strategy claiming that left-wing extremists are one of the 3 top counterterrorism priorities facing the United States. Ah, yes, left-wing extremists. Taken together, these Trump administration directives have commandeered the domestic surveillance apparatus to surveil and criminalize speech and assembly that challenges the ideology of the White House. A new focus on anti-technology extremism adds an unreported category to already public designations under a presidency that has heavily invested political and material capital in AI and data center proliferation. Yes, they're part of the Epstein class. They're buddy-buddy with the billionaires. The billionaires are funding them, and so they're letting them do whatever the fuck they want. That's what it is. Among the documents in the tranche obtained by Wired is a New York Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureau report that warns of widespread upheaval in response to AI adoption. Of particular note is a novel term for what the Bureau purports to be an emerging extremism threat. Quote, the chaotic atmosphere that may result from emergent AI technology in the next 5 years may fuel large-scale protests that devolve into civil unrest and anti-tech violent extremist activity, especially in large urban areas such as New York City, the report reads. The term anti-tech violent extremism does not appear in any publicly available DHS or FBI domestic extremism reports or guides, and represents a novel grouping of a wide range of ideologies under a single extremist category. By the way, again, I want you to stop and think about this. The AI billionaires are telling us that we're going to take your job. AI is going to take your job. That's what's going to happen. those same billionaires are also lobbying to destroy the social safety net. So if you're out of work, if you're unemployed, if you're sick, if you're old, like that, the government is there as basically the provider of last resort. Hey, we'll make sure you get your health care. Hey, we'll make sure you get your food stamps you could eat, right? At the same time, they're saying, we're going to steal your job with AI. They're also cutting the social safety net. So you can't go to the government if you need help, and you can't provide for yourself because they're stealing your job. What do you expect to happen? That doesn't sound like violent extremism to be against that to me. It sounds like common fucking sense. That's what that sounds like to me. Oh, I'm going to become useless and unnecessary and going to be fucking discarded? Well, I don't know. Maybe we should craft a society that...
Shalaki, yeah. So they know that the people are going to revolt, right? Which I have here. Let me see if I can go through it real quick. The Shalaki on the stop and go. It's just computer's dragging. So hang in there with me. All right. But this is the point he's making here. It says AI power players want to figure out how to placate the people before the coming revolt. All right. So this is a good article here. Let me see if I can summarize it. Bear with me 1 second. Let's see. Will it work this time? Let's see. Hold on. It may not work. I tried it before. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Is it going to pull up? It says, okay, so it's not going to work. All right, cool, whatever. Right? Let me see. Let me just read a little bit here. All right. And bear with me, y'all. This thing is crazy. Come on now. All right, here we go. I'll just read a little bit and we'll go back. So it says here, it says Exos reports that America's billionaires are now drafting their own remedies for AI-driven inequality, eager to head off a populist backlash before it gathers force. The boom has raised the stakes of the wealth tax fight considerably, unleashing a technology capable of eliminating millions of jobs, even as it produces unprecedented concentrations of personal wealth. Populist politicians, especially on the left, have framed the moment as capitalism's reckoning, an economy already tilted toward the elite, about to tilt further still. Okay, because they're gonna crash this shit, man. Okay, the writing's there on the wall. This is the tech titans see the danger clearly enough. Their proposed solutions, however, tend to involve everyone except themselves, rethinking how money works. Right now, let me get something real quick, because like it has in the photo, they know that revolt is coming, man. Like he was talking about, they're telling you, like, look, we're gonna take your jobs. You know, you're gonna they're gonna resort to universal basic income, which Elon Musk, I got a video on that where he's talking about that, right? But they know these people are not going to be for it, right? Which leads me to what? 2 Ezra 15. Okay? Because this shit is going to get ugly, all right? And we're just giving you the warning before it happens, right? 2 Ezra 15 and verse 14, and it reads, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands," right? For there should be sedition among men, all right? So that's what's getting ready to happen, these uproars of the people, man, these revolts, okay? For there should be sedition among men, right? Civil wars, class wars, right? For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they should not regard their kings, nor princes in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, so this is going to happen. It's prophecy. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. It's going to be a very terrible time. Okay? You're talking about times unheard of, right? And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil the goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right? There you go. Okay. So let's go back to the video here. Right. I wish I had the summary to finish off this article, but it's all good. You know, those that are watching, you get the point, right? Let's see if there's anything else before we go back, though. Okay. Yeah, it's cool. We'll go back. Here we go.
That's what that sounds like to me. Oh, I'm going to become useless and unnecessary and going to be fucking discarded? Well, I don't know. Maybe we should craft a society that doesn't treat people like absolute fucking dog shit and serve the whims of disgusting freaks and pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein and fucking all the other people in his environment. Jesus Christ, man. In the same Intelligence Bureau assessment, analysts also describe a novel threat emerging in the wake of the arrest and trial of Ziz Leota, an extreme rationalist who allegedly led a small cult-like group, 3 members of which have been charged with murder tied to an obsessive ideology focused on the existential risk posed by AI. Are you serious? So there's like one cult and they're saying everybody who's against AI is like that. Well, I got bad news for you, bro. The polls show that like, what, 80, 90% of young people are against it because they know what it's going to do. Are we all in a cult? Is that what it is? Oh my God. That's so crazy. They're now saying if you're anti-AI, if you're fighting back against it, you're an extremist. In the same way that if you criticize MAGA, if you're anti-capitalist or anti-Christian, I mean, that's so insane. So anybody who's an agnostic or an atheist or just non-religious, now you're on a list somewhere? Jesus. This Republican Party is the scourge of the earth. They're the worst of the worst. And anybody who says otherwise is fucking lying to you.
Yeah, but see, through the spirit, it's a bigger picture, man. All right. They're already putting laws and legislation in place for those that speak out against the beast system, man. That's what it's really about, man. You know, anti-technology, anti-artificial intelligence. No, anybody that's speaking out against this rollout of this system, that's what it's really about. Because they know they're going to see these elites. They know that they're going to get resistance from the people because people know about the mark of the beast. It's being talked about on all these different platforms daily. All right. The word is out there, man. The vibration of the prophets is truth. Okay. So people are fully aware of this beast system. Like I was talking about the other day, the article I brought out before, you know, you got Silicon Valley. They're actually funding the right wing side, you know, to get these right wing conservatives to buy in to this current rollout of technology. Because you got some of them speaking about how this technology is sinister, you know, and they're equating it to the mark of the beast, the beast system, and all of that. So they're essentially going to buy them out, and they're going to push this thing as you're seeing being said to you right now. All right, so this is what it's all about. Okay, they're preparing for the resistance against the beast system, right? And we're going to get more into it, right?
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and.
So there you go. So let's pull this up as well. Not to be ranting too much, you know. But when I was looking through these articles and a couple of these videos, I'm like, yeah, this is what it's about, man. It's literally enforced worship, man, in submission. All right. And that's what these technocrats want. Okay. This is from Gizmodo.com. It says the feds and law enforcement are worried AI backlash could turn into anti-tech violent extremism, as he was just talking about, right? The threat of domestic terrorism could give Trump's AI-friendly administration, right, these technocrats, a convenient reason to keep tabs on anti-AI movements and data center protests. You see that? So they're already prepared for it, right? That's what he was talking about in that video. We don't got to read through it, but it's the point I'm making here, man. Okay, this is that wrath as we read about in Revelation 12 that's getting ready to happen, right? Now let's go here, right? I want to go back to this chat conversation I had dealing with Revelation 13 and 15. Matter of fact, let's read that first before we go into the chat. Let me pull it up. You know, everything's moving slow. Bear with me. God damn. All right, Revelation 13. Let's go there. Okay, so this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and we're going to start at verse 15 here. All right, Revelation 13 and verse 15, and it reads, It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So this is where we at now. Okay, the image of the beast going into this new technological realm. Okay, and it said that he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Now, and this is where we at. Now this AI, these idols, if you will, they're speaking now. Okay, they're providing solutions for people. People are actually, going to AI for life problems and religious purposes and shit like that, man. Okay, this is where we at. This is that Roman Empire system, that ancient Roman Empire system of economy and governance, man. Okay, this is that new technological era that we're in right now. Okay, and let me go to the chat, right? Let me go to the chat now. Because this is heavy. I want to read through a couple of paragraphs here, as I was doing yesterday at camp. But this information was heavy, and I wanted people to see it with their own eyes. So check this out, right? So this is from Chat GPT, and I had posed, what was the question? I said, describe the image of the beast, ancient Rome, in Revelation 13:15, and how it can be compared to this new technological Rome today. All right, so this is what we got, right? So it says, many interpreters of the book of Revelation see the image of the beast in Revelation 13:15 as more than a literal statue. In the historical setting of the Roman Empire, the image represented a system, right? The image represented a system of enforced worship, loyalty, and submission to imperial authority, right? It says Revelation 13:15 says the image of the beast would be given life, would speak, and would cause those who refuse to worship it be punished. In ancient Rome, this connects closely to the emperor worship. Citizens in many provinces were pressured to burn incense to Caesar, declare Caesar as Lord, and participate in the imperial cult. Refusing could mean exclusion, persecution, and death. The empire used military force, economics, propaganda, and religion together as one system. All right. Now, what did we just read from that headline from The Guardian? What did it say? Let me go back. Okay. It said right here at the bottom, it says a new belief, right? This is the new belief that these devils are pushing. A new way. A new belief set is uniting some of the wealthiest men in the world around transhuman future. Actual humanity be damned. All right. So there you go. This is what we're saying here. Let's go back. So they're merging everything as one. All right. It says some modern readers compare that ancient structure to today's technological society because they see similar patterns developing through mass surveillance, digital identity systems, AI-driven monitoring, centralized financial systems, biometric tracking, algorithmic control of speech and behavior, social pressure to conform ideologically, right? It says from that perspective, the comparison is not necessarily that modern technology is the beast itself, but that technology could become the mechanism through which large-scale control is exercised. Similar how Rome used its infrastructure, military, coins, laws, and religious system to maintain obedience. It says that the quote image language is especially interesting to many people today because an image in the ancient world was often an idol or representation of authority. Some compare that symbolically to screens everywhere, digital avatars, AI-generated personas, state or corporate propaganda systems, virtual identities that shape thought and behavior. It says the phrase about the image being able to speak also stands out to modern readers because ancient idols were lifeless. Yet Revelation describes an image that appears animated and authoritative, right? This is where we at now. Chat GPT, right? You got the different AI bots. Okay, all of that. Okay, we're they're pushing a new, as I showed earlier, we're under a new digital idol that they're going to enforce people to bow and worship. Okay, because they're touting this AI as God. Okay, it says, and I'll read a little bit more. It's a long read, so bear with me, but there's a lot of heavy points, and we'll get to the scriptures again, right? Bear with me. Yeah, so it says, reading on, again, it says the phrase about the image being able to speak also stands out to modern readers because ancient idols were lifeless, yet Revelation describes an image that appears animated and authoritative. Some connect this symbolically to artificial intelligence, interactive media, deepfakes, pervasive algorithms, persuasive algorithms, autonomous digital systems. It says, often interpret the passage differently. Some see Revelation as mostly about first century Rome only. Let me go down. Yeah, some view it as symbolic of all oppressive empires throughout history. Some futurist interpretations see it as a future global political religious system still to come. And that's it. That's the image of the beast, that system. Okay, of this new Rome that's upon us, man. Historically, the beast in Revelation draws heavily from the imagery of oppressive kingdoms in the book of Daniel, where empires become beast-like when power, worship, economics, and coercion merge together. Right? When empires become beast-like, when power, worship, economics, and coercion merge together. And this is what they're doing, man. Okay, it's a new system of economy and governance, man. Okay, a digital enslavement. Okay, it says, common comparison people make between ancient Rome and what they call a technological Rome today looks like this. All right, and here's the parallels. All right, ancient Rome, emperor worship, modern comparison, ideological conformity, personality cults, Roman census and taxation, digital databases and tracking, Roman roads connecting empire, global internet infrastructure, imperial propaganda, algorithmic media influence, economic pressure, digital banking / payment control, right? Which is going to come through that chip. Marks of allegiance to the empire, digital identity, or access systems, right? Because remember, you're not going to be able to do nothing, okay, unless you have submitted to this beast system. Okay, that's part of your allegiance, right? Like it says in Revelation 13:8, right? Let's go back. Revelation 13:8, it says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, right? And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, man. So those that are not written would be your 2/3, your heathen, and the rest of these Edomites. They're going to submit. Okay. So let's go back. Okay. They're going to submit to the beast, to that digital idol. Okay. Let's go back here. It says bread and circuses, entertainment, media distraction, military dominance, technological and surveillance dominance, right? It says the central warning many derive from Revelation is about systems that demand ultimate allegiance in place of God, right? Let me highlight that. The central warning may derive from revelation is about systems that demand ultimate allegiance and place of the Most High, especially when political, economic, technological, and spiritual power become fused together, right? That's what it's all about, man. And we're here. Okay, so let's go to this read here, and we'll make more points, right? So let's go back to what we had in from The Guardian. Okay, again, this is from theguardian.com. Headline reads again, it says our tech overlords, right? Our tech overlords are planning for conscious AI to conquer the cosmos. What could go wrong? A new belief is set, uniting some of the wealthiest men in the world around a transhuman future. Actual humanity be damned. All right, let's see what we get from it here. So this is heavy. All right. And this came out today, May 31st, 2026. All right, so let's see what we can take from it here. All right, I wish I had the summary, but we'll read on here. So it says, Sam Altman, the chief executive of OpenAI, took to the internet a few years ago to propose that the Homo sapiens will be the first species to design our own descendants, right? And this is this devil's idea of remaking mankind in his own image, through okay, transhuman. How do you say transcending human nature, right? To design our own descendants. In his best case scenario, the quote merge between humans and artificial intelligence occurs at some point over the next 50 years. The alternative, where we remain simply human and machines follow their own path, are omniness. If two different species both want the same thing and only one can have it, in this case, to be the dominant species on the planet and beyond, they're going to have a conflict, he wrote. It says, more recently, Elon Musk, the world's richest man, who at one point last year was granted the power to reconfigure the U.S. federal government, argued on his social media platform X that, quote, it is increasingly appears that humanity is a biological bootloader for digital super intelligence. Our role in the history of the cosmos reduced to that of the low-level code that boots up a computer before you can run sophisticated programs on it. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see. Here we go. Quote, who cares if artificial intelligence obliterates humdrum human labor when it offers us the opportunity to transcend our body and conquer the galaxy? All right, these fucking devils are out their damn mind. You see? But that's the point here. Let me get that in 2 Thessalonians 2. Right? 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. And it reads, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day should not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, which is Esau, Edom. Okay? Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. So this is what we're reading here, man. They're talking about taking over the world and the galaxies, man. Madness. All right, transcending humans, merging man with machine. You're going to become super intelligent. You're going to become gods, right? These are madmen. Remember ye not that when I was yet, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and ye should know, and now you know what was he revealed in his time, and this devil is being completely revealed as the devil that the Bible speaks of. Okay, remember we read the definition of devil in Revelation 12 and 12. Okay, verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. All right, going back to the ancient Roman Empire. right? But now we're in a new technological realm. Okay. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, going back to the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So everything that's being presented in this lesson today, all right, is all the working of Satan, man. And he's coming with the pseudoscience, the false miracles, lying wonders, all right. All of that's being pumped right now, which I'm going to further get into. I just want to read a little bit more, right, and we'll go jump to the video with Elon, right? Going back. So let's see what else we got. So it says, reading on here, it would be a mistake to understand these weird worldviews as an ultimately harmless take by techies who grew up on a diet of dystopian science fiction. And this is exactly what they bring in, man. The notion that we are approaching the end of the Homo sapiens, as defined since Darwin's day, is coalescing into a durable body of belief among the elites at the helm of our technological future. It says their dreams are not all perfectly aligned, but like the folk stories and superstitions that have ever revolved around more established religious traditions, the collection of far-fetched scenarios Valley oligarchs are writing into our future exhibits the hallmarks of a religion in the making. Okay? This is that new religion that we were talking about, man. Okay? A body of belief to confer a sense of cosmic transcendence and an inevitability to their high-tech project. All right, I'll read this last paragraph and we'll move on. It says, in their minds, they are on their way to build the next phase of humanity. All right, again, this man thinks he's the most high. Okay, and he's using his tech to alter the Lord's creation. Okay, this is why these devils got to be stopped. Okay, it says, in their minds, they're on their way to build the next phase of humanity, a transhuman future. In this future, they can satisfy the desire for immortality and assert power over the cosmos as transhumans multiply and expand over the galaxy. You see this shit, right? Their ultimate goal to execute a techno mystical dream to distill the essence of what it means, of what it is to be human, consciousness and all, into bits of information to be downloaded as binary code onto some non-biological substrate, such as a silicon chip, or beamed through space as electromagnetic waves. There you go, man. Okay, so you already know where this is going. Okay, so let's make this last point, not to talk too much and rant, right? But we here, man, enforce worship of AI, okay, in this new technological realm. This is the beast system that we've been talking about over and over again, man. Okay, let's go back to Revelation 13 and 15 again, right? So back in Revelation 13, 15 again. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. All right, so now you understand. So what we read from the chat, it's a system, man. This is what we're talking about. It's a new system. It's a new Rome that we're in, man, in this technological age. Okay, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That's the chip. Okay, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. right? So buying and selling, the new way of buying and selling is going to be attached to the chip. All right? There's no way around that. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. All right, the man of sin, the Edomite. And his number is 636, right? And I had pulled that up too. All right, before we go on, I had that pulled up as well. I said, what did Apostle John see in Revelation 13 to 18? 666, is that a system? Right? So this is what we got. So it says the verse 666 as a number connected to the beast. All right, Chi Psi Stigma. Throughout history, there have been several major interpretations of what John was seeing. Number one, 666 as the Roman Empire and Nero, right? And the Roman Empire and Nero, right? Let's go back. It says, many historians and biblical scholars connect 666 to the Roman Empire, specifically the Emperor Nero. In Hebrew numerical, I said, well, I'm beating that up. In Hebrew numerical lettering, gematria, Nero Caesar can add up to 666. Excuse me. It says this interpretation, the beast equal imperial Rome, the number equal coded identification of Nero or Caesar-like rulership. And Trump is that cruel Lord in Isaiah 19. The system equal oppressive empire demanding worship and obedience. See? This view fits first century context because Christians under Rome face persecution. The Christians talking about the Israelites, man. And we're getting ready to face that persecution all over again. It says because Christians under Rome face persecution and pressure to conform to emperor worship. So how much more now in this digital, worship, man? You see what I'm saying? Again, that's the parallels that I'm talking about, right? It says, let's see what else we got, and then we'll go on to the last video and we'll wrap this up. But it says 666 as a reoccurring system of human rebellion. Others see 666 symbolically in the Bible. The number 7 often repeats completeness or divine perfection, while 6 falls short. Repeated 3 times can symbolize ultimate imperfection, right? Corrupt human rulership, as we see, going back to these technocrats trying to play God and altering the Lord's creation. Man exalted himself as God, right? It's the spirit, right? We read that in 2 Thessalonians, right? In these articles that have been presented. And it says, what? A counterfeit kingdom. And that's exactly what they're pushing. A pseudo left-hand kingdom that's not going to prosper, that's not going to come to pass. All right, these devils attempting to play God and rewrite man in their own image. It's not going to work, right? Under this view, John was only describing one individual, but a reoccurring beast system appearing throughout history: Babylon, Rome, oppressive empires, tyrannical governments, economic and religious control systems. That's what's being presented right now. Okay? So yes, many interpreters believe 666 represents more than a single person. It can symbolize an entire system animated by pride, domination, deception, and enforced allegiance. Come on, man. That's clear, right? Last point, it says number 3, modern technological Rome comparisons. Some people today compare Revelation 13 to emerging global systems because they see parallels between ancient imperial control and modern technological infrastructure. Boom. They point to digital identification, biometric systems, AI surveillance, programmable currency, censorship systems, centralized economic access, behavioral scoring, all right, social credit scores, right? global data networks. From this perspective, 666 is viewed less as a visible tattoo or isolated mark, and more as a system or of participation in allegiance tied to commerce, identity, and obedience. There you go, man. Right? Man, I got to read that too, Salakia. Revelation 13:17 says, no one could buy or sell without the mark, because economics, worship, and power are linked in the chapter. Some modern readers see potential parallels with cashless systems, centralized digital finance, identity verification infrastructure, systems that can restrict participation. There you go, man. How much do you need, man? Move on. Right? I kind of knew I was going to be all over the place, right, to make these points, but those that's in the spirit, you get it, man. All right, this thing is clear. Matter of fact, let me get that too. Habakkuk 2. This thing is being made plain, right? Because Habakkuk 2 and 2, and it reads, it says, and the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Washai, answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Is it not speaking now? But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. There you go. Man, I can tell you what was shot, man. We here, right? The proof, as they said, the proof is in the pudding, man. You know? That's why these devils, they got to be stopped. And the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is going to stop them. Anyway, let's play this video here, right? And then we'll wrap it up. Elon Musk talks about Jesus-level technology, miracle workers.
Thank you for having me. I would be there in person, but this is IPO. You know, we've got to get the IPO, SpaceX IPO going pretty soon, I think. But I look forward to visiting Israel again. I'm happy to, answer any questions you may have, or
I've got a few questions lined up for you.
Interesting. Whatever would be interesting. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll start with the first one. Tesla has spent years developing the vision and technology for smart mobility. Now that you're moving from testing to actual deployment, what is the biggest challenge in scaling this technology to millions of users around the world?
So in terms of having self-driving be ubiquitous, I think we're making steady progress. The Tesla full self-driving software, which is really just AI and cameras. We don't use radars or LiDAR or anything like that. It's really trying to drive the car in the same way that a human drives the car, which is human drives the car primarily with vision and with a biological neural net. That we take the same approach with our vehicles, which is a digital neural net and cameras. And I expect this approach to ultimately be at least an order of magnitude safer than humans driving. I'm not sure if we have approval for this in Israel. I think we may have. We'll get it soon, hopefully, and you'll be able to experience it for yourself. But it is quite magical because the car feels like it is sentient. It actually feels like it's alive, and you can actually, as we improve the software, you can feel the sentience growing in the car. It feels alive, and I think we already have some vehicles operating with no people inside and no safety monitors in 3 cities in Texas.
And that's the point we were reading. You know, this technology is alive. Because we read in that chat, it said in ancient Rome, the idols were lifeless, right? But now they're given the power to do things, to become alive. You know?
And probably will be widespread in the US by the end of this year, and hopefully in Israel too.
Thank you. We look forward to that.
The world's going to have a lot of robots in the future. And what Tesla makes is effectively 4-wheeled robots right now. And in the future, we'll also be having humanoid robots. You're seeing a lot of startups with humanoid robots. And my prediction is that there will be far more robots, like intelligent robots in the world than there will be people. And I think this is most likely to be a good thing. We always want to be a little paranoid or certainly not complacent about the safety of robots. But I think it will usher in an age of not universal basic income, but universal high income.
Right. Thank you. I think we have one of your robots out here in the exhibition, so that's also a lot of fun for everybody here. I'll go and take a look.
Optimus Subprime.
Exactly. When you think about, let's say, the most exciting development or breakthrough that you're working on right now, what do you think would be the one that people aren't talking about enough?
Well, I guess people are mostly aware of the rockets that SpaceX does. There's the Starship rocket, which we are now in version 3 of, will, I think, achieve full and rapid reusability. This is the fundamental breakthrough necessary to make life multiplanetary, to extend consciousness beyond Earth, and have self-sustaining cities, self-growing cities on the Moon, Mars, and elsewhere in the solar system. So this is really quite a profound breakthrough, and we might succeed in doing that this year. The critical factor being full and rapid reuse of all parts of the rocket. That's a much bigger deal than people would realize. When that technology is developed, that'll be a fork in the road of human history, where we can become a spacefaring civilization, multi-planet species, and I think that's an incredibly exciting thing. Perhaps to some degree, there's also not that many people are aware of Neuralink, which is creating a cybernetic interface AI from your brain, and it has enabled people who have completely lost their brain-body connection to speak again and to use their computer and their phone. And we believe it will enable people to walk again.
Yeah, like you said, a cybernetic interface for the brain. That's the chip. Okay? So we here.
Because you can take the signals from the brain, from the motor cortex, and if somebody has, say, a severe spinal injury, you can transmit those signals to a second neural implant and reanimate the body so that people can use their limbs and we think at some point live a normal life by effectively bridging the signals from the brain to past the point in the spine where the damage has occurred. These are pretty wild.
Yeah, I want to make one point. All right. We talked about how he thinks he's God, man. That's Prince of Tyrus. I was thinking about that. Ezekiel 28 and 1, it says, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, came unto me saying, Son of man, say unto the Prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, and I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thy heart as the heart of the Most High. See? And you could tie this spiritually to Esau, to Babylon, America, right? Verse 3, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide for thee. So as he's explaining this, man, it shows you the depth of this man's mind, man. Okay? These devils, they search and explore everything, man. It says, with thy wisdom, okay, with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten the riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy riches. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches, right? And just thinking about the this AI where we at right now, the advancement in technology, okay, merging man with machine, transcending humanity. Okay, this is why he's become proud. Okay, and that's part of this technology is part of his blessing, man. Okay, so he's become proud through that. Okay, altering and changing genes. What do you say? We're going to be able to have designer descendants in the future. Okay, these devils are extremely proud. you know, but they're going to fall. You see, it says, verse 6, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shemir Washai, because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. And this is why, as I talked about before, as we're at the peak of this technology, this AI, this beast system, on the other side of it, well, you got nuclear war at the door. All right, you got destruction at the doorstep of America, man. You see, it says they should bring thee down to the pit, and thou should die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Without yet say before him that slaved thee, am I a God? But thou should be a man and no God in the hand of him that slaved thee. You see that? So these devils, they're going down, man, regardless. Okay, but we're at the height of his pride, as it tells you in Job, the fullness of his sufficiency, you know, the height of his enterprise. Okay, this is where we at, right? Let's finish it out.
Wild.
Wait, how old is the?
Just pass real quick.
Things that are possible, and then later this year we expect to do our first implant for what we call blind sight, where even if somebody has lost both eyes or lost the optic nerve, or perhaps has not even been able to see, has never seen, even if they were blind at birth, it will give them initially limited vision, but I think over time, very precise vision, perhaps superhuman vision. So, you know, restoring control of people who are tetraplegics and restoring sight, I think, are pretty big deals. Those sort of what I might call like sort of Jesus level or sort of technologies, you know.
Miracles.
Miracles, yes, exactly. I mean, miracles of science. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I have another question about the automotive world. If I bring you back to smart mobility, when you look
So that's it. You
past the immediate rollouts of FSD, which you mentioned, and the cyber cab, what?
So you heard it, man. Jesus like miracles of science. All right, those false miracles, lying wonders, man. There you go. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, as we just read. You know, but that's pretty much the point, man. Not to be all over the place, man, but you know, they're gonna force people to bow, you know, to this new system, you know, and force AI worship, man. So there we go. And those that don't, you know, you're gonna be excluded from society. You know, so you can see how prophecy is coming to pass right before our eyes, man, quickly, you know. So there you go. So I pray that this you know, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect, and shalom to the next one, man. Shalom.